Moving on to Bayern Leverkusen as well, who remain unbeaten at the time of recording as well. It's very, very fun to see how Valentina really just mentioned about how every single player has improved. And we were talking glowingly about Florian Wirtz earlier this season, but I need to talk to you about mostly their wing backs as well, because we have to talk about Jeremy Frimpong and Alejandro Grimaldo, and especially when they've had Victor Boniface, who was shining at the beginning of the season. They brought
Yeah.
in Broja Iglesias and some of their younger players who were then squad players like Adli coming into the first team as well. He's been very, very good. Talk to me about how they've been shining across the team and especially about how some of their squad players are getting a lot more recognition now in the first team for Bayern Leverkusen.
Well, what is very noticeable about Bayer Leverkusen as well is they were really afraid of the Africa Cup
Yes.
because, of course, Boniface got injured. Otherwise, he would have been there as well. And then there was the Africa Cup where lots of players of Bayer Leverkusen has been playing. So they
Tapsoba, Kusunu. Kusunu wearing number 7, that really bugged me. Do you remember that,
no,
Valentina?
yeah,
Centre back wearing number 7. That was crazy.
but they were really afraid, like they could struggle in this period, like of the season, which is very important because I think the real season starts like around February, March of the
Yes.
new year. And this was the period of time when the Africa Cup took place. And what is really noticeable is that Bayer Leverkusen, no matter who is not playing of the first 11, of the starting 11, they can replace everyone by being just a great team. And I think this is amazing to watch. And the way Bayer Leverkusen plays is just you see that they're a team. This is what you're missing at Bayern Munich. When you see Bayern Munich playing, everything feels like heavy.
Yes.
And when you see Bayer Leverkusen playing, everything seems like easy,
And balanced as well.
and balanced. And it's fun watching them and they're having fun. I mean, I don't know if you have seen like the cheer from Xhaka, where
Yes.
he kind of
Faked his
seemed to
injury.
be injured.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
his injury.
I've
And
never seen him so happy. He wasn't that happy at
he
Arsenal getting
was so
booed off the
happy and
pitch,
all
and
of
now
the
he's
team
happy now.
was happy and like they're just like fun to watch and
You
they're just a team and you can feel it, you
you
know?
mentioned the point as well about the African players being out for AFCON as well. One of the replacements who came straight in the team, Stanisic, who was on loan for Bayern Munich, he
Yeah.
then scored against Bayern Munich, and it was a big impact because that's
Tuchel
normally where
didn't want him,
Kasun.
huh?
Yeah, Tuchel didn't want him, and he thought, you know what, let's get rid of some of these young players. Joshua Zirkzee playing well now at Bologna as well, so little shout out to Joshua Zirkzee. But you're looking at Stanisic, you replaced Tapsoba in that starting lineup or Kasunu in that starting lineup, and he scored against them. It was one of the most emphatic wins of the season in all of world football, and that goal from Frimpong was very, very cool as well. So just like you said, the team has got that goal-driven mindset, and they're really going for it in the Bundesliga right now.
And they will win this championship for sure.
We did predict it at the beginning of the season, so I'll be here in May and I'll be messaging Valentina. I'll be like, we told everyone we're gonna get the clips out. We told you all back in September, October
At the
time.
beginning of the season, I was asked by a lot of like people at the Sport Bit Award where I have been guests. Who do you think for different podcasts and stuff? And they were asking me, who do you think will win the championship at the end of the season? And I was like, I think this time it will be Bayer Leverkusen. And
Mm.
they were all laughing at me, But some experts, they agreed, but most of them, they were like, you're crazy. But I think
Valentina knows
now,
football. That's all I'm saying. Valentina has
it's
always known
just like,
football.
when you're into football and you I have been playing for years, years, years. So I know some mechanism. And when a team is a winning team,
Yes.
you can feel it. They have this special spirit. They're special. And Bayern Leverkusen is special in this season.
One thing I need to ask you before we move on, it's kind of a segue into the next topic, but what did this Bayern Leverkusen team have that the Borussia Dortmund team of last season lack? Because last season, Borussia Dortmund were the talk of the Bundesliga. Jude Bellingham, Marco Reus finally winning the
Yeah.
trophy as well. Some amazing players that they had in their side. What's the main difference from your point of view from Bayern Leverkusen for this season and
Yeah.
Borussia Dortmund from last season, Valentina?
Well, for sure, with all respect for Edin Terzic, but Xabi Alonso is like the better coach. Why? Because he has won everything as a player. He has this winning mentality. He
Yes.
knows how to handle situations where you're under pressure. And his mindset is transported to his players. And I think this is the main difference from Bayer Leverkusen to Borussia Dortmund of last season. I think Borussia Dortmund of last season couldn't stand the pressure. They got nervous in the end and they lost it last game. So against Mainz, I mean, what are you talking about? It's Mainz,
And a missed penalty as well, which was crazy to
Yeah.
think about.
So, and I think this is the very different difference from Bayer Leverkusen to Borussia Dortmund is the mindset and their coach. And I think also the quality of the players. I mean, Borussia Dortmund had an amazing team last season, but compared to the Bayer Leverkusen of this season, I think Bayer Leverkusen is way better.
I would say so as well. And the one thing for me, you mentioned about the coach as well, the aura of both coaches as well.
Yeah,
Edin Terzic is a fantastic man manager and for me a really good tactician, but he doesn't have the aura, the presence that Xabi Alonso has in the
exactly.
Bundesliga right now. Because you're looking at how Xabi Alonso came into the side last season and he brought everyone up straight away. He was playing with an injured side as well. So Florian Wirtz was out, Schick was out. I think Andrić and Palacios wasn't in the team and he brought Palacios into the team because it was Andrić and Demirbay as the two centre midfielders as well, and has brought a lot of players through into this system that have worked really well. Nathan Teller's a big example as well. He was a bench player at Southampton last season. Now he's starting games in the Bundesliga, scoring winning goals for the Bayern Leverkusen side, and it's fantastic to see, especially because of the aura of some managers. They just have that presence about them. You
Yes.
mentioned Klopp earlier as well. Xabi Alonso is definitely in that. That is definitely in that. Yeah, I would say Xabi Alonso is definitely of that ilk in terms of having great
Yeah.
auras. Not in terms of quality just yet for Jurgen Klopp, but in terms of having aura, I would say as well, which is really good.